Welcome to Barefoot on the Moon podcast, where we explore ways to live an authentic, happier life. This podcast is part of thehappierlife.com. Your hosts are author and Happier Life consultant, PJ Ferguson, and artist and life enthusiast, Caroline Patrick. We invite you to hang out with us now as we walk barefoot on the moon. Hey everyone, and welcome to the first official episode of Barefoot on the Moon. We just got our t-shirts. Let's see if I can show them. Caroline, you want to show everyone your t-shirt?
Yep, I just did.
Do it again.
All right.
You have to say, okay, there we go.
All right.
And let's go barefoot.com. That's our new.
Yay, awesome.
I will take you to thehappierlife.com. We're really excited about this. We were doing coffee and Corona, but we are creative people, so we keep changing things up and just have kind of fallen in love with the idea of Barefoot on the Moon podcast. We're out here talking about happiness. So welcome. Glad to have you with us. This week's attitude, what we're talking about is the attitude of believing. Now, I love this topic, but it's a challenging topic because it's very broad and it covers many different aspects of happiness, the human experience, life in general. So I hope that we cover it enough during this podcast to help you think about how believing can help you be happier. So Caroline has our news. We're going to start with a little news bit. And Caroline, tell us about your news story for this week.
All right. Well, first of all, PJ, I want to start this little segment with a quick question for you. So, do you believe that nice people should be rewarded with nice things?
I do, absolutely, without question. What prompts that question?
Well, then my next question is do you believe you are a nice person?
Mostly, yep.
Okay.
I
Do you believe then that you should be? Do you believe then that you should be rewarded with something nice?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, that sounds to me like using the word deserve, which I am hesitant to use. But yeah, I think.
Well, I'm not suggesting that you deserve it, but being rewarded is a pretty good thing, don't you think?
Yes, I do. What's up?
So I'm happy to reward you with our brand new, you can't see it.
See it. What is it?
It's the new calendar.
No.
I got the calendar. I got calendars made as a surprise for you.
Right, that's awesome.
Yes.
Very cool. So yeah, you've been doing some new paintings, and I was wondering about the calendar because you were wanting to do a 52-week calendar, and I was going to ask you about it. But you've gotten a year calendar done. That's awesome.
I did get the year calendar done, and it is natural inspirations. And so I'm going to get this for you as soon as possible because you are the first person to just love and adore my calendar last year. So
yeah,
you were on my mind first and foremost to get the first one of these. They just came in today.
Can't wait. And that's your Kingfisher painting that
yep.
so popular.
And it's actually the month of March.
Okay.
So yes, so that's a sideline. I just wanted to give you that little surprise before I started on the news.
Okay, well, I will sideline again, go back to the attitude, just because it's 2021, we're starting this year. I started by getting toxic poisoning and being this side of death's door for a couple of days.
I know, that is terrible.
Pretty much a week. And that's not an awesome way to start 2021. But I started 2020 believing that it was going to be a great year. And for me, despite the stress of 2020, a lot of things, really wonderful things happened for me that I would have preferred to happen. And I, not necessarily because I believed it, but I just kept believing through all the COVID crap, through all the struggles of last year, that there are still good things amidst the bad things. And despite getting poisoned and 2021 being a very difficult start for a lot of people that I know, actually, like my nephew just sliced his leg with a buzzsaw and is going to have a bunch of surgeries to keep his leg
Oh my
together.
gosh.
And so it's like, well, a lot of people want a do-over for the start of 2021, but I think we can believe in good things. We can find the good things in this year, and that's why I'm excited to talk about this attitude. So, good
Great.
news. Back to you, Caroline.
So back to the news. So as you probably know, one of my favorite websites is called the Good News Network, and I have that as my homepage when I turn on my computer. It good news like pops up instead of all of the craziness that can consume a lot of the other news channels and so forth. And so I was browsing the Good News Network today, and I came across this great story about this man in Hyderabad, India, who he was at the grocery store and was buying some groceries, and there was this woman behind him in line, and she looked like a woman of very modest means, but she was buying $2,500 worth of chicken. And he's like, what's going on? And she said, well, I've essentially saved up a lot of money, and some friends have helped me, and I'm I buy this chicken because it really makes a huge difference for the migrant camps that are right outside of our city. And this guy thought this was just an amazing idea, and he went home and he talked to his wife about it, and he essentially cashed in his retirement to open up what they've called a 24-hour rice ATM. So he essentially has set up and staffed this ATM for people that no matter day or night, they can go over there and get an essential staple that will make the difference between life or death in some cases. And it was going pretty well, but he was running out of supplies. And his wife said, well, we have that money saved for, that piece of property that we sold that we were going to, do something with eventually. Why don't you just go ahead and use that money to keep this thing going? And, he did. And then he eventually has gotten, funding from nonprofits to keep it going. But this strikes me as, belief. You have to believe in something, um, you know, just so, so powerfully that, he's one guy and he has changed the lives of thousands of people. He's handed out thousands of pounds of rice, and he took his life savings to create this. And so I just wanted to share that as just a really uplifting news story for today.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I mean, it takes a lot of faith and courage to step out into the unknown like that, to take such a chance. Because, I mean, his life savings, who would be willing to give that up for other people? um, I don't think dowry is the right word, but selling his family property that he had inherited to help other people in need. And so, I mean, that takes enormous self-trust, faith, belief that good things can still happen. I also like that it helps us to believe the good in people. And it wasn't just him who did that. You were saying that other people have now been funding this Rice ATM, which is a fun name,
Uh-huh.
to help other people. And I think that's one of the hardest things, I think, in my experience, for people to believe is the goodness in others, because the evidence that we see, we're surrounded by bad news, we're surrounded by bad drivers, we're surrounded by people who are acting very selfishly when we have to go interact with others. But I think most people are actually good people and they want good things. And I think that we have to believe that first. And when we act on that belief, we have a far better chance of seeing the good in others. And this guy has certainly showed us that.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I think a lot of people think about doing good things as, they want to help others, but I think they also want the feeling that it gives them. And in this case, it really is, I mean, it is truly, somebody who is just so giving of themselves to, like you said, believe in that whatever the risk is, it's worth it.
We've talked about this a lot, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you think there's anything wrong with that guy partly doing good for others because it'll make him feel good?
Absolutely not. I think that that's one of the wonderful byproducts. I think if we felt crappy, if we were doing good things for somebody else, we probably would do less, less good things. I think I don't know exactly, what the biology is behind it, but so many things are sort of, conditioned. And I think we as a species, we're conditioned to feel happy when we know we've made somebody else happy.
Yeah, I agree. And part of the biology is just going to be that nobody is an island unto themselves. We are not sole individuals in this universe. We are all connected. We're connected to each other. We're connected to this world, to nature. We're inextricably connected. And I think we forget that. Even with our technology, we get on our phones and we can look at pictures of any part of this world at any time. We can see millions or billions of people if we want through technology and still feel alone. But I think the wonderful thing about technology is if we just use that to connect with each other in positive ways. That's why I love doing podcasts like this, because that's what I feel like we're doing.
Great.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I think that's a great segue into talking about our attitude.
Okay, great. Well, that's the Good News Network, you said?
The Good News Network, and yes, we'll put the link to this news story below in the comments.
Yeah, spreading the good news. I think it's on all of us to share the good news. The more we do that, the more good stuff is going to be out there. So spread the good vibes.
Absolutely.
All right. So we were thinking we would share a couple of our favorite talking points from the book. Are You Happy Now? I'm going to go ahead and share the talking points with everyone so you can see it as we talk. All right, so here are our talking points. And Caroline, what's your first favorite talking point?
Well, there's a lot of really great ones that you have put together here, PJ. I would say that the believing in yourself and your life purpose. I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about that talking point.
Oh, mixed feelings. I like that.
Yeah, because I am a big fan of believing in yourself. I've never been really comfortable with the concept of a single life purpose. That implies that you have a single life purpose. And I actually believe that we can have many life purposes.
Let's dive into that really quickly, just because others might have that same conception. I won't say misconception because it's just a conception. I do not believe people have one set life purpose that's foreordained and they were born here to do that purpose. And if they miss it, then that's it.
Well.
I believe your life purpose is what you choose for it to be. And it can change. You can have multiple at a time. You will have multiple throughout your life. And I think as you follow what you feel drawn to naturally, what you feel passionate about, and what you're really good at, what your talents and gifts are, I think your life purpose comes as a natural process of, even if you don't know what you're supposed to do, figuring that out. That's your purpose. So
I would go along with that. And I think that one thing that I really, that particular element really speaks to me is that we struggle our whole lives, some of us do anyway, in believing in ourselves. And that in some ways it's so much easier to believe something else. And if we can believe in something else, like whether it's religion or somebody that we hold really, dearly, what they say, or science, or what have you, we can believe in that, but sometimes it's so hard to believe in yourself. And I think that it is a very worthy pursuit to work on believing in yourself, because that will give you true strength.
So I am going to talk about the definition of believe in this case, because believe can mean so many things as we talk about it, right? And in this case, I would kind of define it as having faith in yourself, trusting in yourself. Um, I'm one, curious if you would agree with that or have some additions to that. And two, why is it so hard to have faith in ourselves?
I think that I think you're right that, I mean, believe and belief can have many meanings and levels of context. I honestly don't know why it's so hard. I wonder if we just condition ourselves from, early on, when, because of our failures, that instead of like learning that our failures make us stronger, we we do the opposite, which is, oh, since I failed at that, obviously I can't really believe in myself that I'm gonna do the right thing or be good at this or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think we have a very powerful draw or drive to please others. And when we're, kids, we have a lot of expectations put on us of this is what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. Here's how to think and what to think and why you should or shouldn't feel this way. And all these expectations don't really align with our authentic, genuine how we are. It's like, oh, don't cry, or boys don't cry, or oh, you shouldn't feel sad. Oh, you should, right? All these shoulda or shoulds that we're just expected to live up to. And when we don't, it's very basic math. It's like, hey, I don't match up to that, or hey, I don't feel that way. Hey, I'm not living up to all these expectations that society, family, church, government, media, whatever has for me. So I suppose it's really easy to feel like a failure, not to mention all the bullying that's out there. I mean, come on.
Right, right. So which one of these speaks to you?
Well, first one, first one is what I want to start with for me, for my thoughts, because our beliefs, most of which are unconscious, drive our lives and reality. And that's defining beliefs as what's our unconscious programming in our head. And again, a lot of that comes from what are we exposed to in our lives through media, family, everything that we encounter as kids. That starts programming our brains and our perception of reality. Those things become very unconscious and they drive our feelings, our desires, our um, intentions, and our choices in life. That generates all the results that we start getting, especially as we hit teen years and adult life. All the results we get from in our lives, a lot of it is just, it's from those unconscious beliefs, those unconscious programming in our heads. And so those things drive our lives. Wouldn't it be nice to know what's driving our lives? I mean, that's really important to me, is like knowing what's going on up here so that I have some influence on what results I get back from life. And I don't know, that's really important to me. I think that's one of the most important things for happiness, is like feeling like we have a choice. Like everything that's happening in our lives isn't some unconscious process that we're just these unwitting victims of. And I don't believe that. And in my life, as I've tested this idea out of our beliefs drive our lives in reality, and that we can influence those beliefs, has borne out to be true. So I'm rambling, but
So do you think that we need to take our beliefs from the unconscious into the conscious so that we can understand them?
absolutely. That's pretty much what this entire book, Are You Happy Now, is about, is digging into what are the beliefs that drive our lives. How can we take the awareness of those beliefs and put them back together in a way that supports our peace, happiness, love, all those good things that we're searching for. And so, yeah, I think that's like the most vital thing for us to do is gain the awareness with that consciousness, make better decisions and draw new beliefs. I think is the point is put those beliefs together in a better way, because it's up to us really. Once we're aware of what's going on, it's up to us.
Right. Yes. And to understand, like we were talking about with, like how when you take your beliefs and how it's so hard to believe in yourself because because you are, thinking about the times that you've failed and you've conditioned yourself and you sort of sunk in these negative self beliefs. And yes, I think part of this is replacing those, and the process of replacing those negative self beliefs with true faith and belief, not only in yourself, but other, like for example, believe in the good of others, which is one of your which is one of your other points. That's not, however, the point that I was going to bring up next. The other one of these that really spoke to me was believe in your ability to heal. And I can tell you firsthand, as I think everybody can, that there have been these life shaking, painful times that I have thought that I'm never going to get over. And I did. I did get over them, and I'm a stronger person and a happier person because I experienced the pain and I healed. And even just the process of healing is something that that a person can be proud of, that they got through it. And I think that's really key to being happier.
Can I dig into that just a little bit? Because now it sounds like what I'm getting from context that now if you had to go through tough times, you would believe in yourself because you've been through it in the past, some really difficult times, it sounds like, in the past. And you struggled. The thing I want to dig into just a little bit is when you were going through those things the first time or first couple times around, did you believe in yourself then? Or was it harder? I mean,
I think I didn't necessarily have an awareness that it was connected to believing in myself. I think, I've been married twice and I've now been divorced twice. So the first divorce, I wasn't even thinking in the context of do I believe myself in myself and can I get through this? I didn't. I just had to get through it. But then when it came around again, 20 years later or however long, there was a feeling of like, okay, I've been through this before, and I got through it, and I will get through it again. So
do you think believing in yourself would have helped you through those times a little bit?
yes, I do. I
It's,
absolutely do. I think especially earlier when I was, younger, and, during that time and other times, if I felt like I was, had a stronger belief in what I'm really capable of. Yes, I think that makes lots of things easier, including your ability to heal.
okay. So at that point, it becomes a conscious choice to choose to believe in yourself, even when times are rough, even when you don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, that's well put.
I'm just summarizing what you said. So I think, oh, go ahead.
No, please.
Well, I was going to move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's what I think you should do.
Okay. Well, my next favorite one really ties into what you're talking about, because I think when we're struggling through things that we feel like may be beyond our ability to handle them. I've been through several of those, many of those through my life, of not even feeling like I could handle any more of the terribleness, right? And I think the one that I want to point out is believe in miracles, anything is possible. And I think that for me, that one ties to believing in something more than ourselves. And I think that all of us, I believe, we are all tied to something more than ourselves. You know, we're tied to family, to community, to a world full of people who are pretty much trying to accomplish the same thing, which is to have some peace and happiness and comfort in this very short, crazy life. And I've experienced many miracles in my life, and miracles are really just things that we don't comprehend how they came about. And I really truly believe it's important to stay connected to that something greater than us. And you know, again, whether that is God for some people, for me it's universe, because to me we're connected to everything. We're part of this big mystery of creation that we have the tiniest little bit of perspective on, for you know. And I think if we believe miracles are possible, that we'll experience more of them, and when we do, the sweetness will be greater, because it does remind us, you know what, you're part of something bigger, and it's miraculous, it's beautiful, you're part of that. I'm curious your thoughts on believing in miracles.
Yeah, I like your take on it. I think what I would add to it is that miracles don't have to be something that we don't understand or don't know, like that it is from sort of a magical source. Of course, you know me, I'm a huge believer in things that are magical, but something could be a miracle if let's say out of the blue, somebody gives you a check like that you weren't expecting. So like, for example, a couple of months ago, money was pretty tight, and kind of out of the blue, I got this tuition reimbursement from Pima Community College, because I'm an adjunct faculty there, and I was taking a class, and I thought, and I had to pay full price for the course, but but somehow somebody in the college was like, no, she shouldn't have to pay full price for that course. And so kind of miraculously, I opened my mail, and here was this check for a couple $100, and it was right when I needed it. And so I knew where it was from, I knew why I got it, but the timing of it was spectacular, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is just incredible. So things like that, sort of those everyday miracles, I guess. That's not an everyday miracle. If I could get a check every day, now that would be a miracle. But
Hey, miracles happen, you got to believe.
that's right. Got to put it out there. So that's what I would add, is that yes, but I think believing in those things, if you think every day that you're going to go to the mailbox and just get bills, well, I mean, I do get a lot of bills in my mailbox, so I'm not going to be surprised if I get bills. But why not put it out there that there's going to be a check in there?
I can't think of a reason why not. I do believe in keeping our beliefs realistic. Otherwise, we can set ourselves up for disappointment. That's another discussion of its completely own.
Uh-huh.
But I think what you're talking about is the perfect example, because those are the things that do happen in life. Those things happen. We don't see them coming. We can't see the future. And it really made your life sweet in that moment. I mean,
Yeah.
I imagine you felt like, kind of that someone's looking out for me type of feeling
Yeah.
of
Yep.
what,
Yeah.
I really needed this. And that sounds amazing. That's really wonderful. And, I don't know. Gratitude is a huge part of that, I think, of when you're believing in that and being like, yeah, you know what? And gratitude is a really important part of happiness.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, yeah, I like believing that anything is possible as long as it's good. I don't like the backside of that is, yeah, anything is possible and it could be horrific, but
Well, that's a good point though, because a lot of people do live in dread of bad things are going to happen. And it's not because they're positive bad things will happen. They just live in that belief. And so it kind of colors their worlds in this negative tone that really probably is stressful, drains their energy, drains their joy. And why live that way? I mean, I do believe bad things will happen. In fact, I know they will, because that's how life operates. But you know what? Great things also happen. So I lean into the goodness. I put my energy towards the goodness, and I know by doing that that more good things happen, and I experience greater joy in those things because I can dive into them. You know, instead of be like, yeah, this is nice, but you could have gotten your nice little check back to you, and then be like, yeah, well, they're going to get more bills tomorrow. Nah,
uh-huh.
right? But instead of being like, good things happen, I'm going to dive into the wonderfulness of this. And I think
Right.
that's
I'm going to enjoy this moment for what it is.
absolutely.
So we could talk about all of these things for a really long time,
Yep.
but we're trying to be more concise with these podcasts. So do you have any sort of summing up thoughts about this attitude of believing?
You're trying to keep me down, Caroline. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, we are trying to keep these a little more focused and direct. And that was our discussion on the Beatitude. Uh, Caroline had this idea to talk about media, and TED Talks are always good. We found this really great TEDx talk that was done by Aliyah Crum. She's at Yale, and her talk was all about mindset. And this discussion of belief, faith, trust, programming of the mind, and how we operate and perceive the world is all tied together in belief. She does a fantastic job of tying them all together. So I very much recommend watching the full talk. Um, she does a lot of talking about different experiments that were done, studies that were done around this idea of mindset. And I wanted to talk about my two favorite ones that she highlighted. And again, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but yes, I really enjoyed listening to that TED talk, and that because I really liked the way she focused on those different experiments to highlight, what a difference mindset can make.
Yeah, and bless her heart, she was just so nervous up there the whole time. I was like, how brave she was to get up there and do that. I would be even more nervous wreck, yeah, if I was up there. So she did a fantastic job. Just delightful speaker. So yeah, the two studies that she talked about that I wanted to highlight were people's perceptions of things, right? So um, they took a group of people, and they were housekeepers. I think there was at hotels, housekeepers at hotels, brought them in and had a little discussion with them about their outlook on their job, and basically asked them, do you exercise? And most of them said no. Like a full third of them said, I get zero exercise. Most of them were like, okay. Well, they studied the housekeeper job and found that those housekeepers, they do a lot of work. They're very active. They burn like 160 to 200 calories an hour, which is actually quite rigorous. They're hard, they work hard in their jobs. And technically that's exercise. So these workers have this mindset that they're not exercising when, scientifically speaking, they are. And it's the study is interesting because they took a control group and told some of those, didn't tell any of those people that technically they were exercising. They just let them do their thing. Um, and then they told another half of the group, yeah, hey, you guys are exercising. What you do each day actually surpasses the Surgeon General's technical description of exercise. You're burning calories, you're doing cardiovascular work. So they took studies of people's health, their fat, their heart rate, their blood pressure, and even did the study of their viewpoint, how much they like their job. So they let them work for a while, probably a few weeks, a month or so, brought them back, and the group who they didn't tell anything to, obviously their stuff was the same. Their health was the same. Some people it was in fact worse. And the ones that they told specifically, hey, you're exercising. Well, those people, their fitness actually improved dramatically. And their enjoyment of their job also increased for most of them. They actually like their job more because like, hey, we're exercising.
Uh-huh.
Awesome, right? So
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like knowledge is power, and what you believe really does affect that.
yeah,
The I like the milkshake one. Was that the one you were going to tell?
yep, you tell.
Yeah, go ahead. I love that story.
Yeah, so the health shake was the other one.
Right.
They paid people to come in and take these milkshakes. Well, the first milkshake was a health shake. It was 0 calories, zero sugar, zero fat, or just very few calories, no fat, no sugar, super, super healthy, right? Well, what they did was measure these people's ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. When you've got ghrelin pumping, you feel hungry. And when you eat, the ghrelin goes away. Your body stops doing the ghrelin because it's like, hey, we've got nutrients, we've got calories, don't need to be hungry anymore. Well, they had the people do the health shake. Their ghrelin levels went down a little bit, and waited a couple weeks. Then they had these people come back in, had them eat this indulgent shake that's like full of sugar, full of fat, full of calories, full of all these bad things, and then had them eat it, measured their ghrelin count. Well, their ghrelin count was like, it went down like 300% more than the health shake. In the end, both shakes were the exact same shake. The only difference was their perception of what they thought they were ingesting. So just by believing they were eating a health shake, they were still hungry, still, and then just believing they were drinking this like fatty, indulgent milkshake, their ghrelin went way down, their hunger went way down. So it's just their perception, just their mind.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, I really like that podcast. That was, yeah, I thought those two, and there are some other ones on there that she talks about that are equally interesting. But I think those two really stood out as being that really highlight how to like how to understand perception as it relates to attitudes, belief, and what can happen with that.
Yeah. And so that just is, oh, okay, sorry. I wanted to point out the other ones you're talking about. They cover the wide range that we've been kind of talking about, of belief being, say, just faith in things, just having trust and faith in yourself or other things, and also the programming in our heads. She talks about brain plasticity, neuroplasticity, and all of them are very much related. And so belief is one of the most important parts of our lives, and it matters what we believe in, how we believe in things. And so, do you have any other thoughts about belief?
I have a lot of thoughts about it, but I think we're probably running over time at this point.
We are. So I'm actually going to go ahead and close our time with a good quote that you kind of brought up just a little bit. This is, I think it's from Alice in Wonderland, the movie. Had a tough time pinning down the source, but it is this. You know what the issue is with the world. Everyone wants a magical solution to their problem, and everyone refuses to believe in magic.
Great. That's great.
So believe in yourselves, believe in the goodness of people, believe that 2021 still has some good things left for us, believe that we have power and ability to make things better. And the more we believe in those things, the more they will become a reality. I believe that completely.
I do as well.
Where can people find your calendars, Caroline?
They can find them on my website at hopespringstudio.com, and I'll put that in with the comments as well, a link to where they can find my calendars, and also, lots of other great artwork. So
Yep. So we'll put the links to the calendar, to your site. We'll put the links to the Good News Network. We'll put the links to Alia Crum's wonderful TED Talk, and you can get all the great information there. So thank you, Caroline, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we will see you next time.
On the moon. Barefoot on the moon.
Barefoot on the moon.
Bye.
This has been a Barefoot on the Moon podcast. Thank you for joining us. You can hear more by going to www.letsgobarefoot.com. This podcast has been sponsored by hopespringstudio.com and thehappierlife.com. We wish you a life filled with joy, peace, and love, and look forward to hanging out with you next time here at Barefoot on the Moon podcast.